Somebody needs to put Saren in his place.
We have to stop Saren. Hostile spotted.
Detected across all levels. Emergency evacuation. The Presidium is experiencing severe system malfunctions across the entire level. All non-emergency personnel must evacuate immediately.
Give me a rundown of the damage.
We have lost all primary power to the level. Environmental controls are not responding. Class 3 fires are burning in sectors 2, 3, 6, and 7. Civilian casualties are high. I am also detecting numerous unauthorized synthetic life forms throughout the station. They are believed to be hostile. Please approach with caution.
What happened to the Council?
In accordance with standard emergency procedures, the Council has been evacuated to the Destiny Ascension.
Where's Saren?
Former Spectre agent Saren Arturius is nearing the vicinity of the Council chamber. A warrant has been issued for his arrest, though Citadel security is unable to respond at this time.
What about Captain Anderson and Ambassador Udina? What happened to them?
I have no information on the status of specific individuals. Once the current crisis has been resolved, a complete accounting of casualties and survivors will begin.
Come on! We need to stop Saren before it's too late!
Please begin emergency evacuation procedures. This is not a drill. Critical failures detected across all monitored systems. Please begin emergency evacuation procedures. This is not a drill.
They're sealing the station!
Don't let the enemy ships inside the arms!
Just love the way this is shot with Sovereign coming out through that smoke. And just barrels through them to get inside the Citadel before it closes.
Suit up! We're going outside!
I just like this next portion here that we are basically just running up the tower. Like the side of it, basically. And then you see Sovereign right there, just to see the size of him from our level and perspective. I like how the tower shakes when he does that. Very nice. It's like, well, so much for the elevator. We're just going to run up the side of the tower. Still got some Krogan here. Oh. Well, he's a Krogan, so of course he didn't go down that easily.
Negative contact, Shepard.
I do like how in the background it continues to get bigger as we get closer. Nice touch. Because that could have been like just a static background. Because some games will just absolutely do that. Just have some kind of standard static background that won't change. So I appreciate it when they go the extra mile and try to make sure that it actually will go ahead and change. That's right, we gotta make sure that we get these up and running.
Now I'm ready.
So they can help us against the ship.
Countermeasure deployed.
The turrets turned on. Sorry, Liara. Now we are past this thing. You can see like the underbelly of Sovereign here. This has probably been my favorite little aspect about this final gauntlet run here. Get a little closer. There we go. Alright. I believe we're at the final stretch here. Let's check this area over here first. Yep. Quite a few Krogan here. Kept trying to headbutt me and I was just backing up and shooting him. course, there's nothing back here. At least give me one last thing to loot or hack or something. Just to make it feel like it wasn't a waste of time. Alright, here we are. So, one last check here. Pulse rifle. I'll give that to Liara, because why not? And then... let's give that to Garrus, I guess. It's funny, the pulse rifle for the Geth doesn't have upgrades. Like slots for upgrades. Real disappointed I didn't find any armor better than this, but, you know, I wasn't able to finish off getting to level 30, so I would have to redo this character in New Game Plus, which I think I may add another video after this, because this is usually going to be the final part for Mass Effect 1. However, what I think I may do is try to see if I can start up a New Game Plus with this character and do the opening portion, so I can get that Prothean Codex entry. And I don't recall if the Codex entries carry over into New Game Plus. I forget. Hopefully that is the case. However, what I think I may need to do, just to be safe, because I'm worried if I do that, it's going to ruin the possible file I would have to try and actually import in Mass Effect 2. So what I may end up doing is import into Mass Effect 2 first, then try and see if I can go back and start New Game Plus with this character in order to get that Codex entry, and see if that works. If not, oh well, I'll forget about it. But anyways, in the meantime, let's go ahead and make one last hard save right here. There we go.
On me!
That's right, Garrus. Take him out.
Cameras online. I think we're good, Shepard.
All right. So maybe now we'll go ahead and, there we go. Little closer. Hey, Saren.
I was afraid you wouldn't make it in time, Shepard.
In time for what?
The final confrontation. I think we both expected it would end like this. You've lost. You know that, don't you? In a few minutes, Sovereign will have full control of all the Citadel systems. The relay will open. The Reapers will return.
I've still got a few tricks up my sleeve.
You survived our encounter on Vermeer, but I've changed since then. Improved. Sovereign has upgraded me.
You let Sovereign implant you? Are you insane?
I suppose I should thank you, Shepard. After Vermeer, I couldn't stop thinking about what you said. About Sovereign manipulating me. About indoctrination. The doubts began to eat away at me. Sovereign sensed my hesitation. I was imprisoned. planted to strengthen my resolve. Now my doubts are gone. I believe in Sovereign completely. I understand that the Reapers need organics. Join us, and Sovereign will find a place for you, too.
Sovereign's controlling you through your implants. Don't you see that?
The relationship is symbiotic. Organic and machine intertwined. A union of flesh and steel. The strengths of both, the weaknesses of neither. I am a vision of the future, Shepard. The evolution of all organic life. This is our destiny. Join Sovereign and experience a true rebirth.
You know, it's interesting. I found out that BioWare actually decided to announce what they considered the canon ending for Mass Effect 3. I heard they chose the synthesis ending. And I find myself wondering, is the line of dialogue that we just heard from Saren possibly part of the reason as to why? But if that is the case, that's kind of, yeah.
Sovereign hasn't won yet. I can stop it from taking control of the station. Step aside and the invasion will never happen.
We can't stop it, not forever. You saw the visions. You saw what happened to the Protheans. The Reapers are too powerful.
Some part of you must still realize this is wrong. You can fight this.
Maybe you're right. Maybe there is still a chance for... The implants. Sovereign is too strong. I'm sorry. It is too late for me.
Now, what's about to happen from this next choice is interesting because it kind of starts to become a recurring thing in this series. With, I guess, the implication is that once you've been indoctrinated, there is no saving you. You are either going to be an indoctrinated slave or die. Because how many times... Saren is one of the first we see here. But think about how much it happens later on. Well, it doesn't happen all that often, but there's at least one other example I can think of where someone who was clearly indoctrinated, and the only way they saw a way out or to fix it was through suicide. That there was basically no saving them at that point, so the only way out was to die. It's interesting that it became a recurring thing, I noticed.
It's not over yet. You can still redeem yourself.
Goodbye, Shepard. Thank you.
Not really sure that's what Shepard had in mind for you, Saren. Shepard then goes, that's not what I meant, Saren. By redeem yourself, but... whatever.
Vigil's data file worked. I've got control of all systems.
Quick, open the station's arms. Maybe the fleet can take Sovereign down.
See if you can open a communications channel.
The Destiny Ascension. Main drives offline. Kinetic barriers down 40%. The Council is on board. I repeat, the Council is on board.
Normandy to the Citadel. Normandy to the Citadel. Please tell me that's you, Commander.
I'm here, Joker.
We caught that distress call, Commander. I'm sitting here in the Endura sector with the entire Arcturus fleet. We can save the Ascension. Just unlock the relays around the Citadel and we'll send the cavalry in.
Are you really willing to sacrifice human lives to save the Council, Shepard?
This is bigger than humanity. Sovereign is a threat to every organic species in the galaxy.
The Council must be sacrificed for the greater good. Don't waste your reinforcements. Hold them back until the Citadel arms open up. Save the human fleet to attack Sovereign.
What's the order, Commander? Come in now to save the Ascension, or hold back?
So, a couple things I want to comment on. One, This is something that's going to happen regardless of who you bring with you. One is going to be the one who says you have to save the council. The other is going to say don't save the council. Use the fleets. Just have the fleets focus on Sovereign. And it said regardless of who you bring with you, regardless of the combination. It's interesting to hear the different, which character says those lines differently. Like, I found myself wondering, would Liara actually say, like, sacrifice the council? Since she tends to be the one to say, no, this is bigger than humanity. Now, I will say, though, that this actually makes sense for Garrus's character at this point in time. Remember, he is still of the... Even though he has clearly been influenced by Shepard during this game, when it comes to his thinking and mentality of what needs to be done to do, for justice and to do, to get the job done, to try and take care of, dealing with bad things. We've been hearing this with discussions with him throughout the game. So even though he's come quite a bit during his interactions with Shepard, this still makes sense for him at this point in time that he would still, in this kind of situation, say that we need to resort to letting the council die in order to be able to ensure that we have the most available forces and resources to try and take down Sovereign, as opposed to losing some of them saving the council. Because there is the risk that, what if we sacrifice all of our fleets to save the Destiny Ascension, but we don't have enough to take down Sovereign? So that's Garrus's line of thinking. Like, again, this happens regardless who you bring here, so it's not just Garrus, but to me this makes sense with Garrus's character, at this point in time. Now, the other thing I want to comment here is this choice right here. This is kind of a deceptive choice here on the part of BioWare. I'm accusing BioWare of making this a bit of a deceptive choice, because I have seen people that have been doing Paragon runs that they actually, and this is something that I kind of like try to tell people, don't settle for the neutral middle choice in games like this, because it's deceptive, what it's actually causing you to do. I have seen people, at least a few that I can think of, that they made the choice of concentrate on Sovereign, thinking, let's try and do that, because they thought the risk was, if we don't, then we're possibly going to die, or lose, or there'd be a game over, or a bad ending. Some people were playing this, like I said before, with the mentality of other certain games, that a choice like this would come up, and you would go, oh gosh, if I make the wrong choice here, we could have a bad ending, or something like that. When that's not necessarily what's going on or happening here. That's not the way BioWare designed this. But even people who are doing a Paragon run would pick the concentrate on Sovereign. They're not really choosing either save or let the council. They're just kind of picking the middle option, where they're like, I don't know, just focus on Sovereign. They're not really making a choice on that matter, but they actually are. Because if you pick concentrate on Sovereign, it's also considered a let the council die option. And so people are like, well, wait, we were focusing on Sovereign. But then later on they're going to realize, because the game is going to hammer this point in, especially if you let the council die in 2, is you let the council die. You chose to let the council die. And I've been seeing people go, I didn't choose to let the council die. I focused on Sovereign. But the game doesn't consider it that way. And that's why I consider this a not very clear deceptive choice on the part of BioWare. This is not very clear what you're actually choosing here, because people didn't want to make a choice on the council, and they just wanted to focus on Sovereign, but they didn't realize it was also having this extra little, there should be an extra little line of dialogue underneath the concentrate on Sovereign there, to say, by the way, you're also letting the council die. You're also choosing to let the council die, because that's how the game interprets it. To which I say, shame on you, BioWare, for not really being clear to the player on what exactly that choice means. Shame on you. So, anyways, I just wanted to point that out, that I've been seeing people pick that without the intention of choosing the council to die, because they weren't really clear on the choice like this. The choice was not being very clear what exactly you were doing. If you're going to offer choices to the player, you have to be clear to the player what exactly it is they're choosing, not just hey, make a choice here, and then you go, aha, you made this choice, and then you tell them what choice they just made, and then they wish that they had made a different choice, and then you go, nope, you can't take it back, no, you can't do the choice again, unless, of course, you reload an old save. You know? It's something I tend to be against, which is the whole trick the player into making a choice and then not allow them to make a different choice if they ended up making the choice they didn't want to make. I don't like that. I think that's really a really bad thing to do when it comes to your game design. It's something I tend to not like in certain games that tend to go that route. But that's just me, and I think it's also a detriment to other players, like I said. So, anyways, we, of course, are saving the council.
Opening the relays now, Joker. We need to save the Ascension no matter what the cost.
I hope you know what you're doing, Shepard.
Alliance ships, move in. Save the Destiny Ascension.
Commander, we're picking up reinforcements.
It's the Alliance. Thank the goddess.
Destiny Ascension, you are all clear. Repeat, you are all clear.
The Citadel's opening. All ships move in. Concentrate on Sovereign.
Make sure he's dead.
Should be Garrus to do this. And of course it is. I couldn't picture Liara being the one to do that.
He's dead.
And this, kids, is why you shouldn't let a Reaper put a implant in you and indoctrinate you.
I am sovereign, and this station is mine.
Shutting them down.
I have a visual.
Sovereign's too strong. We have to pull back.
Negative. This is our only chance. Take that monster down no matter what the cost.
Shutting them down.
our chance.
Hit it with everything we got.
Finish him!
Hard on my flank! We're going in!
Go!
Captain Anderson, we found them! They're in here!
Take it easy. It's over. You're safe now. Where's the commander?
I love the smile that she gives there at the end.
Ambassador, Captain, Commander Shepard. We have gathered here to recognize the enormous contributions of the Alliance forces in the war against Sovereign and the Geth.
Many humans lost their lives in the battle to save the Citadel. Brave and courageous soldiers who willingly gave their lives so that we, the Council, might live.
There is no greater sacrifice, and we share your grief over the tragic loss of so many noble men and women.
The Council also owes you a great personal debt, Commander, one we can never repay. You saved not just our lives, but the lives of billions from Sovereign and the Reapers.
Commander Shepard, your heroic and selfless actions serve as a symbol of everything humanity and the Alliance stand for.
And though we cannot bring back those valiant soldiers who gave their lives to save ours, we can honor their memories through our actions.
Humanity has shown it is ready to stand as a defender and protector of the galaxy. You have proved you are worthy to join our ranks and serve beside us on the Citadel Council.
Counselor, on behalf of humanity and the Alliance, we thank you for this prestigious honor and humbly accept.
We will need a list of potential candidates to fill humanity's seat on the Council.
Given all that has happened, I am sure your recommendation will carry a great deal of weight, Commander. Do you support any particular candidate?
So, 3 things I want to say real quick. First off, you'll notice that they are talking about the Reapers like they fully believe us now. Like, okay, you were right about the Reapers. We get it. I just want you to keep that in mind for when we see them again in 2 years later. Also, this was something I just thought of as I was listening to the 3 of them talk. Of these 3, believe it or not, considering that how Sparatus, the Turian counselor, has basically been the most antagonistic towards us of these 3 throughout this entire game, when you think about it, by the time we get to 3, he's probably the one that's like, I don't know how to put this, like, the coolest towards us. like, or the one who's like the most helpful when you think about it. He's the one who gives us the opportunity to save the Primarch on Palaven, so that we can be able to kind of get started on getting our forces to help take back Earth. While both the Solarian and Asari Counselor tend to fight us along the way. Both of them do. Like, he doesn't get very active, the Solarian Counselor, but he does give us some lip if we, cure the genophage. Like, he gets kind of upset about that, which at the time I was thinking, I do not need to hear this from you right now. While Tevos, well, she, like, the very idea of the Krogan be there, well, it's like, oh no, the Asari will not be at your summit. Like, that was something that really bothered me. And then later on, she's like, okay, like, I'll let you in on this whole secret, and we find out how much of a secret the Asari have been keeping from us. And it just kind of bothered me. And I look forward thinking, Sparatus actually ends up being the coolest. Plus, here's the thing. You notice how respectful he's being towards us right now. That's because the humans did something that Turians very much respect. Remember, they come from a very disciplined and military type of culture. And in a life of, say, military and such, what's more honorable and respectable in the eyes of people like the Turians than humans and soldiers willing to lay down their lives to save others? And it's something that I'm sure Sparatus felt very, very touched by, the amount of humans that sacrificed their lives so that he could live. And I'm sure that's something he, from this point forward, never really forgets. Like, really, what Turian would not consider, be very honored by something like that. There was one other thing I was going to comment on. What was it? What was it? I'm trying to think of that little line of dialogue there. I can't remember what it was now. This is why at the time sometimes I try to comment on something when I think of it as opposed to waiting, because then I may forget it later. So, but anyways. Yeah, of course we're picking Anderson. I just hate that this choice is completely invalidated when we get to 3. I was so mad that this choice means nothing. It doesn't mean anything when we get to 3 because Anderson just gives the position to Udina anyway. It just really, really bothered me that they just gave zero meaning to this choice in 3.
We need someone with the courage to stand up for what he believes in. Someone like Captain Anderson.
Him? You must be joking. Anderson prefers to let his fists do the talking.
Only with you, Ambassador. Only with you.
Are you sure about this, Commander? The captain's a soldier, not a politician.
Oh, I remembered what it is now. You notice the music that's playing? I said that music only played when we talked to Vigil. I was wrong. I forgot that it plays during this segment as well. Sorry. So I was wrong. But that's the point.
We've already got too many politicians on the Citadel. The captain would be perfect for this job.
I think it's an inspired choice. The Council would welcome him with open arms, should he accept.
I'm honored, Counselor. As humanity's representative, I'll do everything in my power to help the Council rebuild.
Sovereign's defeat marks the beginning of a new era for both humanity and the Council.
Again, I really wish Anderson had kept the position in 3. Just saying, I think it would have actually helped instead of him giving his position. Yeah, they do make him an admiral in the Alliance, but for goodness sakes, considering what happens in 3, we were better off if Anderson had stayed as opposed to Udina.
Sovereign was only a vanguard. The Reaper fleet is still coming. Hundreds of ships, maybe thousands. And I'm gonna find some way to stop them.
Shepard's right. Humanity is ready to do its part. United with the rest of the Council, we have the strength to overcome any challenge. When the Reapers come, we must stand side by side. We must fight against them as one. And together, we will drive them back into dark space.
I'm gonna go ahead and turn the game sound down here, just to avoid the possibility of copyright. Yes, I know, all these years later, but we still have to be concerned about it. Those of us who have to create this content for our channels, we still have to worry about it. It hasn't changed, unfortunately. I mean, it somewhat has, thank goodness. Some positive changes have been made, but still not some good ones. Not some not so positive ones. But anyways, it was fun going back through this game again. Like it's been a while since I've been playing. Since I have played this, there was a period of time where I was playing through all 3 games just a lot. Especially when 3 came out, and because I had multiple characters ready to go for 3, like multiple characters, careers, save files, and you name it. So I wanted to try out as much as I possibly could, the various different aspects. It's the same thing I've done with Dragon Age. And of course, I loved it when I finally got the opportunity to finally play this for the first time. I'll talk more about this when we start up Mass Effect 2, about how that was actually my intro to this series and not this game. And for the longest time, I didn't have access to actually playing this game. And then I finally got to, and I was just really, really glad I finally got the opportunity to actually play through the entire trilogy legit, But anyways, as far as this version, I think this was quite an excellent remake or remaster, but let's be honest, considering some of the little things they changed to try and make the game just not only run better, but also play better, I think this is actually a pretty nice, I'm going to go ahead and just call it a remake. It's not a full-on remake. It's not like we had, like, the Mass Effect 3 graphics or anything like that, but that's not really the point. The graphics thing is not the end-all, be-all when it comes to remakes. For me, it's the coding and how smooth the game runs when it comes to stability. It's, the balance and the gameplay. If things were completely unbalanced and such, and only one thing was recommended, was it fixed. For example, the way they had the weapon restrictions, it made sense in context of what class you were, but at the same time, I mean, Shepard is still a soldier regardless if they're playing the soldier class or not. And it just seems odd to me. Now, maybe this is true because, let's be honest, not all of us are trained to know everything. I can't speak from a personal perspective when it comes to real life stuff, since I've never been in like the real life military personally. Hold on, because we have the voice cast here, and names here that I've been praising. Lance Henriksen, we all know who that is. I know people give Ali Hillis a hard time, but maybe it's only because of some other roles she's done, like Lightning. But anyways, see if you can spot any, Cam Clark. That's a name I recognize there. Gideon Emery, of course, there he is. Just like very, other noticeable names I can be able to see and be like, oh, I know that name. Yeah. But what I was getting at was that I don't know if every soldier is trained to know and use every single type of weapon, or if there are soldiers that tend to lean towards learning certain types of weapons mainly and just kind of don't really focus on some of the other ones because that's what they want to specialize in. And I understand what they were going for the first time, but to me this also makes sense that Shepard may be specialized in certain weapons, but would still have been able to know and learn how to use other weapon types. After all, she's an N7, one of the highest possible ranks of a soldier that you can be. That's part of the point of the N7. That one of the toppest line of and ranks of soldiers that there are. So to me, this made a bit more sense that she would be capable of using any type of weapon that we have, but she's more specialized in other certain types of weapons, like in the Vanguard's case, the shotgun, or in the Infiltrator's case, the sniper rifle. You get my point. So I like that change that they made. I think some of the other visual changes they made, I pointed this out when we were on Eden Prime. I think it was a very excellent redesign in how it looked. I looked back at how it looked originally. I thought, oh my goodness, this looks so much better. You know, just like what they were trying to get across. I think it was very, very nicely well done. Sorry, I was just taking a moment to check whether or not the song was over. But it's also funny noticing that it says Mass Effect Trilogy in the credits here. But then, because of course, then again, this is the Legendary Edition. And this was a nice starting point. Like, the foundation was set really well here. But there was obvious issues. I've mentioned that the amount of technical issues that they had back then. I mentioned how this game could be pretty buggy at times. I've seen some bugs from the original version that made me go, what in the world? And it felt like that was a whole lot less likely to happen with this version. It's very clear that the brunt of the remake work that they did for this edition definitely went into this one. And like I said, I think it needed to be this one. Even though I would hope they did some things for the other two games as well. But it's fully understandable as to why they would give the brunt of the focus of this to this first game compared to the other two. It was older, and it had issues when it was first developed. And as I said, it was first developed with an Xbox in mind back then, as opposed to multi-platform or PC. You know, like it was, say, with Dragon Age Origins, for example. Though, of course, we have to remind ourselves, even though both were made by BioWare by name, by brand name, we have to keep reminding ourselves that those are two different teams. There's the specific team at BioWare that worked on this game, and then there's the specific team at BioWare or a different division of BioWare that worked on Dragon Age. They're not the same people, it's not the same teams, it's two different teams. We have to keep reminding ourselves of that. So it's interesting that even though this then later was ported to PC, and keep in mind when Mass Effect 2 first came out, it was also still mainly an Xbox 360 game, though I believe it also did have a PC release as well, but PS3 was not included when it launched. It wasn't until later on that they were like, you know what, let's get the PS3 audience in here, even though at the time we all know that Xbox 360 was just dominating the market over the PS3 market, since people considered the Xbox 360 a more popular and better system and console than the PS3. But, you know, there was still a market there. So they realized, you know what, we need to tap into that market as well. We can't just have this Xbox 360 market. Let's get the PS3 market in here as well. And so that began the work on them porting it over to the PS3. But this game would not make that until after the third game came out, when they then re-released all three of these games together as a collection, and thus PS3 players could finally be able to play the first game once that version came out. Now some of you are probably going, oh, they could have just played on PC. As I've said before, just because some of us had access to a PS3 doesn't mean some of us had access to PCs. You know, that's just how it was. You know, I didn't have access to a PC back then. All I had was my PS3, so I didn't have a choice in the matter. You know, it wasn't until years later where that was able to change. But that took some work for that to change. So, I'm kind of running out of things to say here as the credits continue. I guess I didn't expect the credits was going to be this long, but I'm trying to think of what else to comment on about this version. I will say the Mako definitely feels like it had some work. Not complete too much. It's still bouncy like it used to be back then, but it does feel like they definitely made it more reasonable, that it wasn't as absurdly bouncy as it used to be, that they actually made it a little bit more grounded, a little bit. Like I said, I think they took some inspiration from what the team did with the vehicle they used. I know it wasn't called the Mako. I forget what it was called, but let's be honest, we just simply see that vehicle and we think Mako. But the one that was in Mass Effect Andromeda, I've commented how I thought that version was really nice, and I wish that version had been in the original Mass Effect. And I think they took some inspiration from that when they were making this and thought, let's try and make the Mako from the first game like the one in Andromeda. Not exactly like it was, but, you know, try to kind of make it a little bit more reasonable with some of those things compared to how the original Mako used to be. So, anyways. Alright, so it just takes us back to the menu. So, that is it for Mass Effect 1. When this series continues, again, I'll be looking a bit into this. I'll be kind of like deciding what to do in terms of those couple of mods I was mentioning, where there's two mods I have in mind. One is the save editor, because I want to see if we can fix the Conrad Werner bug. The other is the mod that's going to make scanning the planets in 2 just like, oh, one probe scans everything, and everything's collected. Like, that to me just sounds fantastic, and I would like to see whether or not I can actually get that going without possibly causing issues to the game itself. So I'll have to do a little bit of looking into that. And again, I'll also be trying to see whether or not I can be able to try and do a video on the codex entries, just for funsies. But the main thing is going to be that when we return and the series continues, we'll be delving into, in my opinion, one of the best games ever made. Mass Effect 2. A game that I very much love. I will see you guys next time.